dream just to be where you are, in a world I can see where you are, though you are meant to be. Wish you're here next to me, where you dream just to be where you are, in a world I can see where you are, though you are meant to be. Wish you're here next to me, where you are.
Last open with rounds. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. If it has felt like a while, that's because it certainly has been. A month and a half between opens has been quite some time for these rosters to form. But looking back at the GSL, it all started off versus Ox Gaming. Off to a flying start, full to the brim with confidence, which was immediately shattered by 5 fears. I mean, you want to talk about strength of schedule. Ox Gaming, already a pretty tough start. We had the Swiss stage, of course, that weekend beforehand. Surely that wasn't too tough of an affair either. Well, we will look at that later. Stay concentrated. Surely it gets easier in the lowers. Of course not. It's our rivals, Synthesis. We played them in the show match before the season even begun. They had our number. We even had the opportunity to play them in a few scrims, and those were back and forth, and that was the tale of the cards for this game as well. Reverse sweep looked to be on the cards. There was confidence from rounds, but ladies and gentlemen, can we go all the way? Well, you're listening to my voice right now, so I guess you can guess how that result went. It is an absolute pleasure to return with RDR Prod for the rounds broadcast. It's Open 2, it's the new year, it's myself, Sir Pegasus, joined by Rhino.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the SSA RLCS Opens and Open number 2. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you, and of course we are as well joined by the 4th member of RDR Prod. It's got unfortunately Quan's internet died this morning, and we don't have a 3rd member on the stream, so moment of silence for Quan.
That's enough. That's enough. Enough fanfare. Enough fanfare.
Enough.
Move on. Back here with rounds. It's been a bit of an interesting off-season, Rhino, because that wasn't a bad open. Of course, top 12 wasn't the result that rounds are looking for, but that schedule was pretty darn brutal. So it's fine. We don't really need to throw our toys out the pram heading into Open 2. So we threw our toys out the pram, and now we've got a completely new roster to support and celebrate.
It's a really interesting change in strategy from rounds because, of course, we entered into Open number 1 of the year with Willu, Cam, and Renshiro, which looks like an experienced roster, one that knew the region very well, one that seems to have the cohesion that we expected to see. However, 2 of those players have decided to take their capabilities elsewhere for Open number 2, and that meant that it was a bit of a difficult off-season, as you rightly say, for rounds, but we have brought in 2 youngsters from Reunion, who Renshiro is going to try and kind of take under his wing and try and improve, certainly, and bring everybody together as one kind of unit. This is definitely a project start here for rounds, but one that could have massive dividends by the end of the season.
Absolutely. We've spoken a lot this entire season so far. It's hard to believe that there's only been one open with how long that actually has been so far, but the 2/3 rule coming into play here in SSA and what that can bring for the region. Europe and NA and all these other regions historically known to be a bit more talented naturally, but that's due to the experience they have in the scene. Renshiro now perfectly fits that role on this roster with those 2 youngsters alongside him, which I'm sure you can give a lovely introduction for.
I certainly can, and I mean we're starting off with Onizuma, who is a really exciting young prospect from Reunion. He started the season in Open 1 with Astronic Esports alongside Skillsteel and Devour. That was a roster I was very excited about. Onizuma was a relatively new name to a lot of people. Didn't know what to expect, and he ended up being an absolutely solid player on that Astronic roster, arguably one of the more technical dribblers that you're going to see in the SSA region. And the other player that we're bringing in is a player called Willant, who is brilliant in his own right. He's done fantastic work in RSC SSA, certainly. The likes of the RSC team, Grabian and Bromeo, will be very, very well acquainted with the likes of Willant, and we hope that you all will be very, very soon. Just before we do move on, just want to bring everyone's attention to the channel points prediction. Get your predictions in for game number 1 as we play against Zotic Esports in just a moment in the double elim, and see if you think the rounds are going to be able to get through this first challenge of the day. And we can see the whole bracket in front of us there with a potential tasty final match.
Absolutely. We might be able to play our former teammates, of course, Willow being on Les Reunionnais. Sorry, this is going to be an English broadcast, trying to cast a bunch of SSA and French names as well, so this is going to be extremely difficult for us as always. But overall, I wouldn't say it's an easy bracket whatsoever. You've got no-name team Project Andromeda, which have been sides that we've seen repetitively throughout the SSA scene, plenty of times during 2025 as well. Of course, we've spoken about that Les Reunion team. Guys Being Dudes is also going to be that higher seeded side, but for us, we're not probably going to see them in this upper bracket with Les Reunion team just expected to send their way all the way to that upper finals. And I'm not too sure, Rhino, if the wider public are even going to be predicting rounds for that matchup, because I had a little bit of a listen to Just Saying, and they were saying that this round's roster is a downgrade. So if we have lost a player and this has gone to that other side, surely they don't fancy our chances, and we are going to prove that wrong.
We absolutely are. Rounds are here to make a statement, and with that younger roster, they're going to be playing without fear. They're going to be playing on the front foot, lots of attacking Rocket League, which I'm very excited to say. Now, I have seen something just now which has really interested me in this bracket, and it must have been updated within the last hour because our producer, our wonderful producer, hasn't picked it up. But Les Reunionnais have been picked up by an org. They are now a part of Strive Esports.
Whoa!
So Willu, Halu, and Eagle are now on Strive Esports roster. So very, very interesting that is going to come through, and we'll see if we can get that fixed on the graphic for later. I assume that we might not be able to, but just to keep everyone in the loop, that is what's happened. So we have been informed that later it will happen. But for now, that's where it's likely to go. So let's take a look, though, at the here and now. We're not looking to the future. It is time to take a look at the two teams taking part in the first game of the day with Rounds versus Zotic Esports.
And as much as that flag, of course, is going to be of high recognition to us, Reunion Island, it's going to be Onizuma and Marzi this time taking that spot. Of course, that is formerly Willen playing alongside our good man Ren Shiro. But on the opposing side is Zotic Esports, 3 SSA talents, T, Vortic Boy and Prospect. I can't say that I have any history with these 3 players, but they're going to look to try and create some with an upset in this first round. I see that as highly, highly unlikely.
Yeah, you would imagine so. I mean, you can see the names on the Rounds roster. We obviously know them very, very well. Certainly, Renshiro around these parts has made his name in the region. Meanwhile, on the other side, you're absolutely right. T, Vortic Boy, and Prospect, not a team that we are particularly familiar with, not a team that we expect to make too many waves at this stage of the competition. But by the same token, this is the joy of having the open format, is teams get the opportunity to test themselves against the best teams in the region and see where they sit. So Zotic Esports, if they come in with a positive mindset and they come in with the thought that maybe they will be able to get past this Rounds roster, then who knows? Maybe there's a chance that they will be able to cause the upset. Rounds are going to try and make sure with every single touch and goal that they will not be able to do that.
Well, a lot of conversation in SSA has been about those sign-ups as well, Rhino. And of course, it's usually a drop between Open 1 and Open 2, but we're sitting on a nice 6-7 for the next Open. Renshiro, Marzi, and Onizuma actually sitting as seed 6 outside of those 8 teams that, of course, auto-qualified. So heavily favoured to make their way through. And I believe that also favours us for an upper bracket qualification. But of course, you do want to start off in that good form. We remember how well this team was able to play in that very first Open that they played. They went completely invincible. They had those games as well where they forced out a forfeit. So we played the minimum amount of games and less somehow in the first day of RLCS action. If they could do that again and we can get a little bit of an early night in preparation for the Swiss stage run tomorrow, that would be very nice, but that is actually out of our favour there.
Wouldn't that be a dream? Would that not be a dream where we would only have to play one game in the entire bracket? Doesn't look like that will be the case, but it does look like we may have less than the 3 games docketed to play. We will see in just a moment, of course. 10 minutes is the disqualification timer here in RLCS, and we can confirm that rounds have checked in, so we are just waiting for the opponents to come through. But that allows us to have a little bit more of a conversation about the change in strategy from rounds. We touched on it earlier, Pegasus, where we've gone from 3 experienced players in the region, 3 players who have been there, done it, got the t-shirt, to a team which very clearly has a talisman and 2 young talents. I mean, how do you see this change in the last month for this roster kind of affecting their gameplay today?
I mean, we like to say it a lot in EU that, I mean, who cares? They're French. They're going to be able to play well. It's been somewhat the same in SSA with Reunion. Of course, I believe it is somewhat part of... it's a French colony of some kind, so that definitely would contribute to it as well. It's just something in the language. It's something in the culture. I'm not quite sure what it is, but these players are darn good at Rocket League. And frankly, with Onazuma's case, when I saw him on Astronic in that last Open, he was that name that we didn't recognize, the one that we were looking out for. In fact, I had to find him on some very interesting websites. I found out that he had even played before that first Open when I was doing research, and I was blown away by his performance when I was watching him. And frankly, I've got no idea why Astronic let him go. We have absolutely robbed them. We have gone through the back door. We've made sure not to set off any alarms, and we've stolen what I would say was probably their best player. Now paired with Renshiro and Willant alongside, this is a very exciting roster that I feel like not enough people are giving credit. This is going to cause shockwaves in this second Open, or perhaps the third, if that's the time that's needed.
And I think that's important to mention there, Pegasus, is that time is needed for this roster to get to the level that we think that they possibly can do. All 3 of these individual players have proven at some time or another that they are quality enough to get into the mainstream situation here in SSA, top 8 level. And I think it's interesting what you say about Astronic, where we've stolen their best player. I don't actually think there's too many in the community who would disagree with that if they watched Astronic play in Open 1. And I think that's the key. If you look at the names alone, right, you've got Skillsteal and Devour, who have been... I mean, Skillsteal is an absolute icon of the SSA scene, been there for goodness knows how long at this point, and been part of some of the best rosters in the region. Devour is now known as one of next up in the region. He's definitely one of those players that people are looking in SSA towards to be the next player that takes on the mantle of SSA's best talent. And when Onizuma was picked up, as we mentioned, he was relatively unknown, relatively kind of kept himself to himself. Didn't see him in RSC, didn't see him in any of the tournaments, but he's slowly been making himself a bit of a freestyle wizard in a Reunion, and we'll hopefully we'll see some of that a little bit later on today if we get the chance, because seriously, the techers that this boy has on the ball, you're going to be enjoying every single second of it. And I think my co-caster here, who enjoys the freestyle aspect of Rocket League, is definitely going to be getting into to a couple of the the technical abilities of Onizuma later.
Oh, you know how much I love just comp clip hitters turned RLCS professionals. I mean, you know who my favorite players are in the scene, and they all fit under that bracket. But as well, I like players that play a little bit more than I do, except, you know, at levels, you know, 2k higher than I actually play at. Renshiro, a very calm player. He's just extremely intelligent. He knows when to press himself forward, and he builds on that consistency. That's the type of player you need alongside these youngsters that are going to be darting those balls forward, that high risk, high reward play style. You need someone that can lessen that risk a little bit, and Renshiro certainly is going to be the anchorman in that regard. But that being said, we found that a lot of times in that last Open, he was actually the one to step up and get that final goal. And once all the mechanical players had taken everyone out for playing, got that final touch off the backboard with the 50, he times his runs so perfect that he gets himself on the score sheet anyway. Little touches in those final third, but the ones that count.
And we were talking about it at the start of Open 1, when Renshiro was playing with Willow and Cam was that Renshiro is likely to take a third-man position in that roster, given the way that Willow and Cam like to play. And that certainly was the case. That certainly was what we saw, but you're absolutely right that he measures his runs really well, and he really tries to get those high percentage opportunities when he goes further up the field. He's going to need to take that onto another level in this Open, because Cam and Willow, their rotation speed is absolutely outstanding, right? They are able to get back into that defensive position and support that third man if required. Two youngsters who really only see Rocket League as potentially score goals or bust is going to be a very interesting playstyle to play with Renshiro. Obviously, we don't know if that is the case, if Renshiro's already started to bring them back a little bit, rein them in, and start to give them a little bit more of a measured view of Rocket League. But my assumption before we've even seen a ball kicked would be that Renshiro is going to play very, very, very hard third man, and he's just going to let the two Reunion boys go forwards and have fun.
Let the kids have a kickabout, and by all means, I'm happy to watch that play style go underway. You think of, you know, players in traditional sports. You think about a young Cristiano Ronaldo, right? And you think of a young Cristiano Ronaldo stepping up through Lisbon. Few too many step overs when he first went to Manchester United, and then he built up that consistency. He started to play a bit more efficient, a bit more intelligent, knew the time when to throw up those skills. Of course, they slowed down when he got older, but it wasn't because of age. It was because he knew when it was time to show the tricks. And that's what you got to look out for with these youngsters, is how do they build upon their maturity? How does their decision making change when they continue in this game? Arguably the greatest player of all time in Rocket League, Monkey Moon, made a whole reputation on this. Vatira as well, actually, to an extent. Just playing super efficient. You know they've got the mechanics. They can pull it out at any occasion. They'll change the entire game. But if a simple 50 is better, if a simple layoff is better, if not even going for the ball in the first place, a cheeky fake challenge for your teammates is going to be more advantageous in this position. They know they can go for that. Of course, that comes with chemistry as well, but there's going to be that, you know, Reunion Yellow Chem already starting off, and Renshiro, he's an icon. He links with everyone.
I think you've just aged yourself a bit there, buddy. Yellow Chem from FIFA was before 2020. I think they've changed the chem style since then. But it's a bit of a blast from the past when you used to have to put the players from the same region next to each other to get that line link. But I mean, Onizuma and Marzi, also known as Willans, will be very much having that chemistry already built in. And it's just about Renshiro making sure that he can fit in as well, become that puzzle piece that they were looking for to try and add on to their roster. So we are still waiting to see if Zotic will check in. But the name of Round strikes fear into the hearts of people in SSA these days after Open 1 and what we were able to do in Double Elim back then. So it may be that Zotic Esports have decided to sit this one out and get going at maybe a half an hour later than they were first expecting. But Pegasus, the situation is that, you know, rounds were likely to go through into that second round anyway. And we have got Renshiro saying in chat that that's a DQ win. So unsure.
There you go.
Unsure if that is confirmed yet or not. I don't think it is. But oh no, it is. Can confirm. It's updated on the page. Rounds go through with a DQ win.
We'll take that. T of Zotic Esports clearly had not finished brewing. Hopefully he does by the time the lower bracket is able to catch up. So we will have a little bit of time to wait for that next matchup. No Name Team and Project Andromeda both looking like tough sides to have to play, especially without that warm-up. They'll already have a rather high level affair in that upper quarterfinals before they reach us. But here it is, ladies and gentlemen. It has been updated. Strive Esports going to be on the other side of that bracket waiting. They'll play Guys Being Dudes or Corruption. The new organization entering the scene with this roster could lead to an electric upper final where qualification is actually guaranteed for the Swift stage. But if it's through the uppers, if it's through the lowers, that's what that game decides. And most importantly, Rhino, that little bit of pride as well. The glory of the transfer. Shopify versus Genji. I mean, Round versus Strive Esports.
Yeah, and there is going to be that undertone, right, of storyline in there if we do eventually get there. But the game on the other side of the bracket is being played. Both teams have checked in, and both of those teams are quality in their own right. It won't be an easy game to get through into those quarterfinals. Or those finals, I should say. It says quarterfinals on the start page, but that is of course wrong. So, No Name Team versus Project Andromeda is happening right now. I would expect Project Andromeda to get past No Name Team, but that is me kind of speculating a little bit just based on the names that I see in front of me. And if you keep doing that, then you will eventually get one wrong. So, we'll see who rounds face in the next round, Pegasus. But I guess for now, we can go and make ourselves a cup of tea, right?
Absolutely. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, with a hot brew.
What if I told you, from now on, the only thing you need for gaming is this desk? Uneven Base is a complete esports setup. It includes a powerful computer, keyboard, mouse, and monitor, all in one lightweight build. Uneven Base is foldable, portable, and easy to set up. Perfect gaming experience wherever you want. And of course, there's RGB. Uneven Base. Now it's about you.
Pidä taloutesi hallinnassa pelin sisällä ja sen ulkopuolella.
Siis mikä voi olla niin tärkeää, että äijä ei näy 2 viikkoon? Äijä on tullut takaisin. No niin, let's go. Pitkästä aikaa pelikenttä.
Tervetuloa Prozoneen.
Tervetuloa Prozoneen.
Tervetuloa Prozoneen.
Feel me in the darkness. My shadows, they follow you like an accomplice. Lost all of your dreams, the night is heartless. My shadows, they follow you. My shadows, they follow you in the darkness. In the My shadows, they follow you like an accomplice. Lost all of your dreams, the night is heartless. My shadows, they follow you. My shadows, they follow you in the darkness. Way too many faces in the crowd, but I think that I see you. One too many days got me changing up the way that I need you. Now we're both at a bar, acting like it's not hard, trying to feel something different. Talk to somebody new, kinda wish it was you, kinda numb to the feeling. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months and I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Now that you're 24/7 to pretending like I never met you. No, it's all for the best, cause I know we're a mess every time we're together. Going out of my mind, and I wish I could lie, tell you that it gets better. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months where I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months that I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to.
Won't you come over? Dying to know where you came from. We're breaking open. Feel like our future's just begun. And all I know is that we lost time. If we stay right here, we could free ourselves inside. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away where no one knows. Let's run away together. Just lead me into your world. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away where no one knows. Let's run away together on our own. Just lead me into your world. Waiting for no one. We're headed straight up for the sun. They'll never notice. We'll take these cities on our own. And all I know is that we lost time. If we stay right here, we could free ourselves inside. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away where no one knows.
Well, the break is over, but you've had plenty of practice for the month and a half that has been between opens, but our opponents have finally been decided. So let's waste no time and have a look at these two rosters. Of course, a familiar side of rounds. We spoke about them before, but No Name Team are our confirmed opponents. A 3-1 win versus Project Andromeda. Not quite the results we were expecting out of that series, but that perhaps means we should be on our best behavior in this match for top 32.
Yeah, was it the team we were expecting, or did we just see the star power on the team they were playing against and kind of assume that that would be the case? In that first round, No Name Team were able to get past the likes of Breezy Blade and Heatzy with Happy Meal as their sub/coach, which I actually thought was a team that were going to perform significantly better, but this trio of No Name Team, Mindas, Zentox, and Kaze will be taking to the field against rounds in our first game of this open. And based on the result that they just had against those names that I've just said, this is not going to be easy.
Certainly not. You've got somewhat the SSA triad there on No Name Team. You've got Reunion Zentox, you've got South African K's, and Spain does somewhat fall into that category as well with how the region has been in the past few years. So it's a wide array of talents coming together. Unfortunately, in our case, they are living up to their titular name, but in this upcoming matchup, that can certainly change in that series. Though Renshiro, Onizuma, and Marzi, definitely two talents there that we've seen plenty of. Onizuma getting its first real look in for that first open. I'm not going to drop any confidence despite that impressive result.
No, neither am I. And I think rounds should really be able to get through this challenge that approaches as Renshiro, Onizuma, and Marzi have their first challenge of the new open. But must be aware, as we've already said, you know, this is not a game that you can go into with unlimited confidence, assuming you're going to win and play like you've already won the game. That's not the case. You need to make sure that you get past this roster that's in front of you. And remember that if we are able to do that, we have locked in Swiss already. That will be Swiss stage guaranteed with a win in this best of 5. So Pegasus, it's a big game from a rounds perspective because we in order to get the victory, we should be able to get past them.
Rounds versus No Name Team. Upper semi-final means one thing: a spot in the Swiss stage up for grabs. Established challenge versus the No Names. Here we go.
And it is rounds. Their first outing of Open 2 gets underway very quickly. And it will be on that left-hand side, No Name Team to collect the ball first, looking for an early shot. It's a big save out of rounds quickly, but Mindar trying to get through, cleared away down the line. And now Pops high into the air. Renshiro collects, and this is that control that we love to see from the Finn. Over on the left side. Mean Dust trying to intercept, playing it over onto that right-hand side. Zentox able to get in the way. Zentox might be able to clear this one away. Not quite, and that's a shot from Onizuma! And the Reunion youngster gets the first goal of rounds open 2.
And we've got that Reunion sprinkle all across the pitch. 3 out of 6 players. A few years back, you would not expect that to be the case. The minority, of course, are falling on the side of No Name Team. They haven't invested in all those youngsters.
Yeah, absolutely. And now this ball on the left-hand side will be picked up by Onizuma, and looks like there is another opportunity for rounds. Not quite going to happen for them. As the ball into the middle, Zentox collects off the left-hand side. Should be cleared easily away by Onizuma, and actually that might be over the top of everybody.
Oh.
No, it will be Mean Dust to collect.
And it's a nice catch there by the Spaniard. Marzi able to land off at 50-50. Onizuma will take that space forward. Mean Dust was caught in the corner, so was his teammate. That's going to leave the net open. And it's those timed runs that Renshiro has certainly made a name for himself for in every single region possible as well. To get his first goal of this second open, the campaign off to a wonderful start.
Yeah, we've spoken about it before, how Renshiro is just going to take those high percentage opportunities, and that was 100% going home from the rounds captain. Onizuma now tries to get through, and there is that techie play that he just wants to try every single time. There's a fake there, but a miss on the near post allows rounds to clear down the field off the backboard. Opportunity, good save there. Coming through from No Name Team. There's another opportunity though as Marzi gets a challenge. Back post. Oh, it's a great save one more time.
Excellent, but Renshiro still keeps the play flowing. Another ball comes off that back wall, and Zentox is required to get that clear. Zentox, was required to get that clearance. And this looks like there is that slight opening. Able to dash back in time, however. Onizuma, there's a wonderful redirect. Unfortunately, wrong side off the pitch. And while we were speaking about the mechanics that this youngster was capable of, it's somewhat on show there. Well, Zentox giving another one there for the region. 2-1 here, still falling to rounds.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there, to be honest, as rounds just a mistouch in the midfield causes problems. That pass onto the right-hand side, though. And a big demo in the back lines from Onizuma. Renshiro trying to take it through, just not going to be able to do so. And now the clearance down the left side. Ball into the middle. Intercepted, though, by No Name Team, who have settled into this game, it's fair to say. Rounds out of the traps quickly, looking for another goal. That's Renshiro, who just can't get there. And now that ball trying to be played towards the back post, which just doesn't go. Zentox has 100 boost now up the left-hand side. For No Name Team wanting to tie things up. Not able to do so. Onizuma clears, and that's a mistouch in the back lines. Onizuma's second. He's lighting up open 2 already.
You'll call that making up for the former mistakes and instead capitalizing on those of the opponents. And this is why you wanted them to get that first game. Of course, that DQ going to be a free victory for rounds. But you'd rather they have a little bit of extra time to get warm. But despite the tough opponents that face ahead of them, they're still taking this opportunity with open arms.
Yeah, this is really big from rounds. It's a statement, but Zentox seems to be the player that is just keeping No Name Team in touching distance of rounds. And that is a really nice finish. And I apologize. I've only just realized that we've got Zentox and Mini Zentox on the field. So we're probably saying Zentox twice. But of course, we will now be referring to Mini Zentox as Mini rather than Zentox. But this is a really nice play, actually. Onizuma has to cut it out and does. But have you only just realised that too, Pegasus, or was that just me?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I only just realised that. I mean, I'm focusing on the gameplay here and the flow of how it's been so far. And overall, there's been a lot of these high plays trying to play with that bit of verticality in their favour. And despite that, we've seen those opportunities where either side has been caught out by that reality once their opponents throw it back at them. That's led to A few awkward touches. This will not be one of them. Lays off nicely for Onizuma. Marzi, though, steals that one away from Renshiro and instead ends up conceding possession. And it's definitely felt like this is going to be one of those series that truly lights up in the later rounds. For now, it's just making less of the total mistakes and capitalizing when your opponents give it right there on a platter for you.
Round's pretty lucky there not to be level. That was a real opportunity. As Mindas moving back down the field, wins the 50, but not good enough to get the shot on target. Onizuma plays it on the left-hand side. Renshiro up the left wall, looking to pass middle, looking for Marzi. Gets blocked away, but there was a double commit there. No capitalization from Onizuma. He does get a challenge, and he does take the 100, which now means that Onizuma is going to try and clear this ball away. Rule 1, and that will be respected. So Marzi now, a 1v1. Not going to be able to get much else done. Renshiro has to make the save and does.
That looked like Renshiro was anguished by that Rule 1 in front of him. He tried to have a little tap, get a feel and see if his teammates would split the pace, but come on! The less players on the pitch, the more powerful Renshiro's dribbles truly are. 1v2, no problem for this man.
And a lovely finish as well. Top right corner, difficult to save. And that should be Rounds taking home game number 1, but every single time in this region I say something along the lines of that should mean this, it normally doesn't. So we need to make sure that we don't say things like that in the future. Zentox will try and clear this one away. Renshiro leaves it for Onizuma, but with 0 seconds on the clock, it is now official. There's no should about it. Rounds take home game number 1 in this upper semi-final.
And this feels like the first game of what could be a long series if we see a little bit more in that next game from No Name Team. They already gave us a little bit of an appetizer in those first 5 minutes, but you felt like there was still a little bit of that rust from over the holidays. I don't know how heavy they were taking it, but now it is back to work. And they've got to be able to lock themselves in. Rounds as well. No strangers to going the full distance in a series, which has led to both some glorious moments and some very upsetting ones in the season so far.
Yeah, the less said about the latter, the better, as we start to move forwards now in Open 2 with a new roster and new opportunities. Renshiro just making his opponents miss there with 14 seconds to go. Lovely work. As Rounds, not the most convincing game number 1, but I did feel like we were the better team in the lobby, and that's the most important thing right now, is to gain that confidence for everybody on the roster. Make sure they feel like they've got their feet under them and they're ready to go. That's exactly how I felt that first game went against a team that have already proven so far in this Open that they are not slouches.
But this happened to Rounds as well in their first game that they played in the last Open. When they played against Lopez, it stayed a little bit close with those opponents in a way that we did not quite expect. And then game 2 and game 3, they really got it together, and then it became a rather one-sided affair. I'm hoping for that history to repeat itself, but it's so hard to use those series as case studies now because we are 2/3 a completely different roster. But that man that has remained on the pitch is usually the one to make all the difference. The Finnish man himself will look to close out this series.
Oof, and that's a big save by Onizuma, scrambling across the goal line to get over to it. And now Renshiro, not the best control, but he puts the ball middle. Double commit from No Name Team. We've seen a few of those so far in this series already, but that might be a misplay from Rounds. No, Renshiro able to send it away. Zentox tries to place it into the top left corner. Cleared away by the Finnish org, and now Renshiro does collect, and Marzi tries to take over. Ball will just nick off the ceiling, and Renshiro actually calls himself off, moving over to the left-hand side. Off the left wall, gets past another. Nice put middle. Marzi can't do anything but finish. Rounds take the lead, 1-0.
Gorgeous start, and once more it's Renshiro with those ground plays, being 2 players at once. And just needed someone to time that position well. It felt like there were 2 of him there on the pitch. And as long as we have as many Renshiros as possible, we'll be in good trend. That being said, not the best start coming off that kickoff. Will fly off that corner. The demo does land in favor of Rounds. That will start to slow down the pace, especially when there's 0 boost left in the tank. Zentox takes that corner. I believe that was Mini, actually. Mendes. Looking to take it to the original. Onizuma won't be able to get that second touch. It's a gorgeous backboard defense.
Nice.
And the bump as well for a little bit of survival here from No Name Team. But that panic touch has been forced out now. There's space for Marzi. The bump is attempted. The high ball is played, but Onizuma had rounded out the low. It was almost a perfect offense, but that was matched with equally strong defense.
You can see every time Onizuma gets some space, he's trying to get those little strange plays that you don't expect really anyone to be showing at this stage. He's always trying to make something happen for his team, and I love to see it. Inventiveness from the young man. It's a big clearance away as well, as now Zentox collecting backboard, looking to send it long. I thought maybe there was an attempted psycho there. Back post, off the post, needs help, doesn't find it. Double commit from No Name Team. 3 minutes still to play. Round still lead, maybe 2-0 now. Backboard, double touch, just missed wide.
Well, there is another player there available to recover. Marcy pops it up one. Renshiro can't get the job done. Onizuma does well not to jump there. I love the fake challenge. Allows him to save boost, get himself back in quick stride. And that's a lot of intelligence from the young player, knowing when an offense is dead, when he can force out for a teammate. This time he just plays the straight pass. Mindaz once more with that heavy touch of the backboard. That's been the real Achilles heel for this blue-sided team. And Rounds have been able to lap that ball up on multiple occasions, but still only one goal to show. Could turn two, but that long ball instead falls for a redirect. And it's an impressive tuck away from Mindaz.
Yeah, and it's just a misread from Marzi, unfortunately. He's got enough boost to get up there, but doesn't get in front of the player. And therefore, with 1-1 now the scoreline, Rounds have to just make sure that they tighten up on defense. Their offense is looking good. A little bit wasteful at times, maybe. But they are getting opportunities. They are getting chances. And No Name Team, the only time we've really seen them attack is in a counter-attacking fashion like this one, but they won't be able to get anything on the ball. Here's Renshiro in a space that he loves to occupy. Double touch, Renshiro! Forcing that one down off the crossbar. That is gorgeous.
Bow down to the king. All players below, all players firmly sat. Rounds regain their advantage.
How important could that be? Onizuma now trying to collect, and you can set your watch by him. Renshiro so reliable, consistently getting opportunities, and I don't know whether he would have called Onizuma off there or if Onizuma just didn't respect the call, maybe. As Hayes now trying to get this one. It's Zentox looking for the pass middle. A little touch on it from Rounds, and now Renshiro breaking downfield as he loves to do. Marzi gets a reset, tries to play it off the backboard. Not going to happen. Onizuma, a very aggressive stance, but able to win the ball. Marzi, corner, double, not quite. But again, you love to see the inventiveness. You love to see them going for moves like this, because that just shows how much confidence this team has. They will concede on the counter-attack, though.
This is a beautiful dribble forward here by Mini. Gets that flip reset. A bump lands on Onizuma. And no one else expectant of that play, all recovering off the back of corner pickups. And it just leaves that big space right above that 6-yard box. It's a free shot for anyone available. Still had to pick his placement. Credit where credit is due. But for Rounds, this has felt like a game which, if it did go against them, would feel stolen. And that's just been the difference in efficiencies when they step themselves forward, and of course the solidity of No Name Team.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what you're right in saying. It's all about being clinical, and at the moment, Rounds aren't being clinical, but they're having so many opportunities that it almost doesn't matter. It didn't matter in game number 1. It is starting to show in game number 2. It's the ball middle, cleared away by Kays, collected by Renshiro off the left-hand side, looking to follow through, does do so. It's a bit of a reset off the backboard, but can't follow that one through. Onizuma trying to turn, but getting stuffed in the midfield. Cleared away, picked up by Mindas, cleared away by Marzi, but only as far as Kays on the left-hand side. Got to play a middle, that's on target, that will be a goal. And with 8 seconds left, No Name Team might have tied up the series.
And you spoke about games being stolen away. This was certainly a pocket picked by No Name Team in the final seconds. was that quick beat against Onizuma, who, of course, felt like he had to jump towards that ball. I don't necessarily feel like that was the bad decision either. It just was a position that had finally improved as time has went on. But hold on a minute, inside pass does still stay high. Onizuma can keep us alive. It is a perfectly placed ball off that back wall. The South African talent manages to put this ball in the back of the net, and SSA prevails once more.
Wonderful, wonderful work from Marzi. How he finds that angle, it's difficult to do in the air at that moment. A no-name team, well, they will be wondering how they've allowed this to happen. 8 seconds left. They were one goal up, and it looks like they were marching towards a level series. Now, all of a sudden, Rounds pressure starting at the beginning of OT, though it has to be said, no-name team have got a lot of their goals from this situation, and that should do it. Mindas moving down the line. They got the snowplow out, and it will be no-name team to pick up game 2.
And this was the step up in play I alluded to was possible with those performances in game 1. It felt like they had ironed out all of those issues. They certainly did not give much away for free. And when it was their turn in the offense, that was pure consistency. They actually ended up with 8 total, 4 to show for it against a Rounds team, which does favour itself on defense. And also some saves were credited for free follow-up touches for no-name team to slot away. That was an extremely impressive performance, but you do feel like at the same time there, Rhino, that was given away on certain occasions.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it goes back to what I said at the very start of this stream, is the fact that when you have young talent, it's certainly in Rocket League, defense almost becomes a second thought. It's not the primary force of why these players play the game, right? So you've got Onizuma and Marzi who love attacking, and they look good attacking, and they look really good going forwards. But it's that rotation speed that Rounds will miss now from the likes of Willow and Cam that we had in Open 1. That simply isn't there from the Reunion youngsters, and they need to start realizing that it's just as important that they get back quickly as they get forwards quickly.
Onizuma was often, I found, the final man on the roster in that last game, which was rather unusual, but you do sometimes see that with these mechanical players. You expect them to just be high-flying first-man ball chasers, but many of them like to take that more composed role as well, take that space of spilled balls falling out so that they can have the whole pitch to look for. Marzi will make up for that first play. We can move swiftly on and celebrate. Not quite. Onizuma double tap. It's high again. And there will be no one else to tuck that one away. It's back to square one. Still offense on the side of Raz. And what is going on?
We go back to a discussion of clinicality. Finishing the chances that you're given. And on this occasion, Rounds don't do that. Ball out of the corner. Will be cleared away. Mindas collecting. Not quite off the ceiling. Might have actually wanted that ball to touch the roof before dropping. Didn't do so for him. That's a nice infield pass. Blocked away by Marzi. Picked up by Mindas. Cleared away by Onizuma. Ball into the midfield. Dropped down onto the halfway line. Renshiro. A lot of boost really to work with. The demo into the midfield. There's a chance here with a shot from Onizuma. And the save wasn't confident, but it was enough. Zentox will get the better of Marzi. Cleared away by Onizuma. Marzi still forwards. Cleared back by Kays. Now this is Onizuma going high, but blocked away once more, and Rounds just being penned in their own half.
But there was a double commit from no-name team, and that's what's given the boost advantage back to Rounds. And from that small percentage, they take that play back forward. Onizuma off that corner. It's a bunch up at that front post. And there's options for Renshiro. That top left corner just called to him.
I've often called Renshiro one of the most intelligent Rocket League players that I've ever seen, and that's one of the reasons why. When he's got time to think about it, and when he's got a moment to assess the situation in front of him, he is so clinical and he is so solid in order to get those goals that you desperately need. And Rounds, they desperately needed a goal there because they've been on top for a lot of the early stages of this game 3. And they do finally get the breakthrough after a wonderful, wonderful finish from the captain, and Renshiro is on the ball again, getting some space in the midfield, getting a reset, not using it. Blocked away, Marzi following through. Good spacing from Rounds, it has to be said, but outside of that, not able to find the goal they were looking for, and Renshiro collects.
And this ball will be taken down to a teammate. Comes off high, off that corner on Azuma. Finds the doink on Marzi. Again, these two link up. Reunion stands strong.
Whoop.
And Rounds plant their flag in both corners.
Absolutely love that from Onizuma and Marzi. Good communication, knowing where the other is and knowing the play that they want to run. Work from the Reunion boys. Don't let it be for nothing. Opportunity still here. Shot on target. Good save by Marzi to keep the score at 2-0. Remember, there is still half of this game to be played. If you can score 2 in the first half, your opponents can score 2 in the second. There's no question of that. So Kays off that left side, cleared away by Renshiro, back in by Zentox on target, cleared away once more. And a mistake from No Name Team, or was it all part of the plan? Mindas goes across, can't get the finish, and Marzi, well, just kind of jumped towards the ball, not really for the ball, and Rounds are still in a sticky situation.
The demo comes out though, still time to recover from Zentox. It's been a defense that Rounds have been fortunate to survive from for this long. An efficiency we've spoken about before wasn't quite reached. It was a pretty atrocious shot attempt a little bit earlier in the setup from Zentox. And now this leaves them in this position with Renshiro available for the flip reset, looking to go all the way. A 50 will do for Onizuma. Just continue that press, and they continue to be constricted. That's a wonderful fake away. These youngsters love to play with flash and typically want to be the main character. That is selfless. That is intelligence. That is the next generation being built.
We've already talked so much about the communication and the chemistry, very clear from Onizuma and Marzi, and it's on display once again. The passing earlier was fantastic, but this time, calling your teammate off and saying, I've got a better shot, and having them trust you, having that comm be respected, is so important at this level, so important for Rounds' future. And that's a lovely knock forwards. It's a good save. But Rounds starting to show their flair and starting to show their dominance in this series.
You've got to think how much swagger Onizuma must have behind him, coming in here as the probably least known name on the Rounds roster and saying, this ball is mine. You will leave it to the more experienced player in front of him. And taking that ball away, slotting it down, and making what has been an incredible performance overall in this third game especially, but overall this series. What a debut.
Yeah, it's wonderful to watch. And I think particularly this game 3 is going to be one that Rounds look back on with fondness as a game where everything slotted together beautifully. We had a team hat-trick before this, but Renshiro's reminding the youngsters who their captain is. Gets 2 on the board. And with 18 seconds to go, this game 3 is going Rounds' way, and they are 1 game win away from Swiss tomorrow.
18 seconds. This feels like a bit of a victory lap for Rounds, where best of 3s have been thrown out of these stages of the tournament. Onizuma, do it! He's heating up! He's heating up right now. He's close to that boiling point. I think we're at about, let's say, 90 degrees. You want to go to about 100. Almost went all the way himself. But it's still hot enough to scorch, to burn the opponents. That assist falls to Marzi. And I am so shocked at how well those two players linked up. I mean, we've had a bit of a talk with the players, haven't we, Rhino? We know about their scrim spreadsheets that they do hold, and they take those extremely seriously. And in that month and a half, for many it was a Christmas break. For this roster, however, you can just tell they've been in the lab.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And an unnecessary 6th goes through. Renshiro with his hat-trick. Tip him if you've got him, as my good friend Monkey Shines would say. As the ball drops onto the ground. And that Hey, I said when it was like 3-0 that Rounds would look back on that game 3 with fondness. Now, even more so. That is a replay that you want to watch over and over again if you want to see what you did well. They kept their opponents to 4 shots across the entire game. That just shows dominance across the entire field. Attack, middle third, and defense.
That first shot from Renshiro is so gorgeous. And if you're wondering what's the difference between you and these professional players, those watching at home, it's that shot. You can see that slight delay, that final adjustment he gives himself to tuck it away into that top corner. That goal is absolutely unbelievable, of course. But he doesn't just rush towards the ball. He doesn't see the opportunity and just think, this is my moment. He keeps his poise. He's patient. And that's what allows him to watch that first player fly across his screen and snipe out that top corner with power, with accuracy, as he did the entirety of that game. Certainly proved why he was the leader, Rhino, but the 2 teammates proving why they are ones to watch.
Oh my goodness, are they just? And I tell you something, if we don't get an Onizuma reset into a double tap by the end of this weekend, I might pack it up and go home, because that he's going to try that every single time, and he is going to get one of them, I guarantee it. So, look, I hope a little bit that he's saving it for the next game, for the game after this one. There's a part of me which is like, maybe we're saving that 10 degrees, don't waste them, do you know what I mean? But we will see exactly how things go in the next game, game number 4. And if Rounds are able to make it into Swiss guaranteed, they would do with a win. We were talking about No Name Team being a bit of a challenge. They have proved to be a challenge. Games 1 and 2 didn't go all their way. But that game 3 shows the difference in class between these 2 rosters.
Certainly, it was the fact that Rounds were able to just essentially keep their head screwed on, and that has been the difference maker in a lot of these games. It was inefficient from No Name Team, which is the antonym of the word we would have described them for those first 2 games. The shots were really weak when they came through. It was too easy for Rounds to get those counterattacks, and we started to see a little bit of panic when they were sending that third man awfully high, and then their biggest assets actually became their biggest deficit. They were getting counter-attacked on quick pace from Renshiro, especially to launch off those attacks. And then when you give that final third away to those 2 SSA players, try and stop them, you will really, really struggle.
Yeah, you certainly will, as we are just taking a little bit longer to get into the next game, and I would imagine that is because No Name Team want to take a moment to breathe, as they weren't given any time in that previous game. And if you were looking at an example of why myself and Pegasus were explaining to you before a ball was kicked today that this Rounds team is so exciting, and why we believe that there isn't that kind of step down from the previous roster, but instead that project that Rounds are going to be putting together, everything was shown to you in that game 3. Both Marzi and Onizuma stepped up. They showed what they were capable of. They actually showed what they could be capable of with a little bit of fine-tuning as well. And Renshiro is Renshiro. He continues to deliver. He continues to be that stalwart at the back. So Rounds, I love what I'm seeing. All I want to do is see more of it. That's all it is from me, Pegasus, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the ball is certainly in No Name Team's court. There's not much Rounds can do with that gameplay. I mean, if they score all the open nets they're given and defend all the shots that go against them, I mean, fine. Now it's just about not getting that sense of whiplash if No Name Team do step up in this 4th game, which frankly I do expect they will, and it's wise for the players to believe that that is going to be the case as well, just to, you know, keep that little bit of maturity. You don't want to throw this one away. You don't want it to go to a game 5, because that's when that momentum starts to shift away. All the mind games are at play as well, of, you know, this ball was in your court. You should have won by now. Why are we still playing? And you got Willow on the other side of a bracket who's waiting in this final. You might not reach him. That is the potential storylines that are available from this matchup. And I don't want to hear any of them, frankly. This has already been a wonderful story for me. It's one that's kept me awake. It's definitely one of action. I'm not going to be going to bed right after this, but still. I want us to get into that next game. I want to see the same old, and Renshiro has done so well to knock these players together and to fit so well with him, because you know there's always those national duos, and we see duos enter teams. We saw that actually with the last iteration of rounds in Open 1. Can go well, can lead to complications.
Yeah, it certainly can. But you look at this roster in front of us and you struggle to see where those complications are going to come from. This is very much a team that are in it for the long haul. They know that if they commit to the project, then not just Open 2, but Open 3, Open 4, Open 5, Open 6 could look very, very good for this organization. We are just waiting on a reconnect from someone from No Name Team who has decided maybe that unplugging his router is enough to try and get his team the victory in the game. No. But we'll see if we actually do get an opportunity to play in that game 4. And we have someone very interesting just entered the chat as well. And sure, we can all see that as Strive Esports do take down Guys Being Dudes 3-0. So it will be the reunion roster who await the winner of this series, Willu, Halu, and Eagle. And just if you have just joined us, it is currently rounds 2-1, but to be honest, we don't know when this game is going to get back underway. we are waiting for a returning player from No Name Team, and we've actually got the coach there. So apparently there's a PC crash on the side of No Name Team, and if you would like to believe that, you can. If you would like to not believe that, you can do that as well. It's up to you.
Okay, I like leaving it up in the air there, but Strive Esports guaranteed in that final round. I mean, when we saw the bracket, this is going to be no surprise whatsoever that that's going to be the matchup there. That was the guaranteed team. I feel like actually we probably had the harder run to that point, having to face No Name Team or even frankly Project Andromeda, despite being the higher seeded team. But we've definitely seen that before in Rounds' history this season. But speaking of Rounds, you spoke about this being a project, and Rounds always has been a long-term project organization, and that's what I've always loved so much about them. For a long time it's been Project Renshiro for all of their rosters, and that has seen them in plenty of success in EU, in APAC, and now looking to try and get their way in SSA. We've played pause on that for quite some time, but now resume here in Game 4.
The Colosseum, the home of heroes, and Rounds could indeed be those heroes if they do take a win in this game and go through into Swiss. Of course, one more seeding game to play after this one if that does happen. But we will see exactly how this shakes out as No Name Team start relatively strong in this one, but actually Renshiro driving down off the ceiling has some help, and Onizuma finishes the job. Rounds 1-0.
Gorgeous first touch there from Renshiro. The demo as well to top that off. This is how he sees the game. He's just at a completely different level in that regards. With someone on him, he's got the calmness of Busquets to take that one down so tightly. Onizuma, of course, the pacey youngster, being able to get there first on that follow-up. And now back in defense, No Name Team can open up those opportunities. Onizuma looked awkward, and I was ready to anguish at the equalizer. Well, that is a miraculous save. Now turn redirect off that back wall, and Shiro's there on the follow. I'm not going to be on target.
And reading that one as it comes off the corner is a really difficult thing to do, so Renshiro goes by, but reset from Onizuma, playing off that right-hand side, getting it off the backboard. Renshiro collects just outside what I would probably consider the 18-yard box, but Not going to happen on this occasion. Zentox looking now to take this forwards. Left to Mindas. And now Renshiro given time. Off the backboard. Not pressured. Not challenged. Finally, Kaze comes through. And now Onizuma leaves it for player, but it's not quite going to happen. And now the ball over the top. It's Onizuma off the backboard, looking to try and keep possession. Does enough for Renshiro to spark a counter.
We'll keep it tight. Mindas, though, gets a mean 50 against the force of the offense of Rounds. Now that converts over. It's a solid 50 in the center, but it's going to be that off the ball control that's going to make all that difference. Renshiro hooks himself round, somehow manages to beat Zentox on that first ball. Mini gets the save, and Jiro's second shot had a potential to be dangerous. It was a hard one to put away. Onizuma finds the target. He has been an absolute menace in this fourth game and looking to be our win condition.
Yeah, lovely pass middle, but Zentox reads it all the way. Marzi just drops that one down on the right-hand side. A little interception, and the pass is too strong for Kaze. And now out of the corner. Zentox goes by. Mindas goes by. Onizuma making everyone miss. Making another one miss out of the corner as well. But eventually, the Cavalry does come back for No Name Team, and they defend the opportunity well. But Onizuma, like a tricky winger, just taking defenders out left, right, and center. Marzi now looking for an opportunity. Passes back post. Easy clear. Renshiro has the run of the green. The 50 goes against him.
Oh my goodness, great angle found, and space on that back wall now. Balls away. Marzi slammed down. Onizuma comes off that corner. Renshiro, of course, timed once that bottom corner. Mini says no, stays on. And Nancy will go away from this one. Zentox clears this one out. Mindas will take that ball inside. Onizuma doesn't get the save, but once again, Marzi is there in the recovery. A wonderful mind game coming off that sidewall. Beats out one. It's an awkward touch from the second, and they're defending their own shots on net now. This is a complete disorganization of the defense, and it's not getting any better. But that could have been the opportunity to wait for. Wasted from Marzi in that position. But it's been strong. We'll make up with another ball inside. It's got to be Onizuma.
Yeah, I have to say, there is a potential of me. Yeah, okay. So you know what? I didn't even say it, but I thought it, and that was a problem. The caster curse thought is now a new thing. As I was going to say, I was impressed by Rounds' defense so far in this game. But yeah, we can scratch that from the record rather quickly, as No Name Team do take advantage of the counter-attacks that Rounds have been quite known for giving them so far in this series. Ball dropped in off the ceiling, but you have to remember that Rounds, as a counter-attacking outfit, also themselves do look very quick when those opportunities come knocking. No Name Team fighting for their chance to stay in this series and potentially go into Swiss through uppers automatically. 30 seconds will decide if they do get that opportunity or not.
Coming off here is Marzi. Onizuma wants to get that tip out. That's a quick turn coming from Zentox, and now Renshiro appears to be in a 1v1, but he's got that low boost, so he's not going to be able to commit to that play. Zentox looks favourable for the touch. Onizuma cuts off Renshiro, called earlier. That definitely could have worked out. Instead, those final 10 seconds calls are made. We've seen goals in 0 seconds. We've seen Onizuma go for plays off that backboard. It's a big catch here from Marzi. Overtime returns for Rounds. Historically, No Name Team are able to take that win in game one. A time to rewrite history.
Yeah, but you have to remember the last time that we did go to OT, it was actually Rounds who took us there, equalizing the game 3-3. This time, Rounds were leading. Now off the backboard, Mindas sends it to the side. Good pick up by Marzi. Needs to get around Mindas. Doesn't do so, but Onizuma. Backboard, no one challenging. Double from Onizuma! And I said we'd find one. I said we'd get one before the day was out. And it comes in game number 4 of the first series. Lovely work from the Reunion youngster, and that will do it. Rounds qualify for Swiss tomorrow.
A swift stick all the way to that top 32. And the rematch has been earned versus Strive Esports in that next match. Players that we have shared a pitch with now go against us. But what a matchup this was versus No Name Team. We said that it wouldn't be easy with the two teams that we could have potentially faced in this spot. Well, someone who certainly made that an easier accord was Onizuma, who just had the biggest change in gameplay from game 1 to all the way here in game 4. I'd say he was the weakest player for rounds to start us off, and by the end of it, I can't help but sing his praises.
Exceptional. Great way to close out the game. Great way to see this first challenge, really, of the Open to the wayside. There is a bigger monster over the hill, though, Pegasus, as we move forwards in SSA, because the old friend, now turned foe, is awaiting. And look, we would love upper bracket. We would love to get there. Of course, Swiss is calling rounds name one way or the other. But will we get the better seed? We will be back with you in just a few moments before we find out.
Bet you didn't expect this. No break whatsoever. We are going straight into the final series of the day. Win or lose, Swiss stage is guaranteed, but whether that's going to be in the top or bottom 8 for the bracket for that easier initial matchup is to be decided. This is the one we were waiting for, Rhino. This is the one that everyone was waiting for. Rounds versus Strive Esports. This is more than just a seeding match.
This is the one that couldn't fail. This is the one that's never failed, Pegasus, as we start to look towards Swiss tomorrow already. But as we say, will it be with a higher seed or a lower seed? Rounds versus Strive Esports. Previously, Reunion A, and we may see that name on stream again before we are out. But what we do have to say is we expected this. We expected this to be the case, and you would imagine that the Rounds team have prepared for it, and you can see the names on the other side. A 5-6 reunion game. I mean, what more could you ask for? This is so exciting.
The takeover of this region is unbelievable. It's such a tiny island, Rhino.
Yep.
It's such a tiny island. I do not understand how they have so much Rocket League talent over there, and of course, one of which on that opposing side we are more than familiar with. Willu represented rounds in that first open, but now here in the second will be the opponents to his Reunion A replacements alongside Renshiro.
Yeah, absolutely. And an island of less than 1 million people can produce some absolute quality esports talent, and you love to see it. Personally, I love to see these emerging regions, these emerging nations come through and compete. We're starting to see it over in, for example, one of the other esports that I commentate a little bit is seeing a Mongolian resurgence, where there's a lot of Mongolian players currently over there. Over in Rocket League, though, it is Reunion in SSA that we love to see. So Onizuma and Marzi will look across from them and see some names that they recognize from a lot of their individual scrims and leagues. Certainly in Willu and Eagle, two of the most well-known Reunion players that we've seen so far. We will see if that is enough, though, to get past rounds, because honestly, Pegasus, I don't think it is.
Ah, this is going to be a scary one. This is going to be a scary one. There are reunions all across the pitch, both by nationalities and by virtue. But I'm going to call it. Come on, give us a free one. Give us a game for victory. Give us a proper statement in this next match. And nobody can doubt this roster change again. I want an apology with makeup running down the face, pure sobbing tears from anyone on just saying that said this roster was a downgrade.
I hope you're watching, Greybeard. I really hope you are. But we've got to get into this one. To see if we do get that apology, we will be going into the lobby very, very shortly for the game that we have been building up to for the entirety of today. It is going to be Rounds versus the newly acquired Strive Esports. And we are just apparently waiting on them to join, which to me, Pegasus, says they're a little bit nervous.
Yeah, they're nervous. They don't know how to deal with it. And now they're representing an organization. I don't know when that was confirmed, because literally this morning it was Reunion I. It was like 20 minutes before kickoff.
I think it might have been
still
like that,
Le Reunion I, but I like to see orgs dipping their toes into SSA. I believe Strive Esports, correct me if I'm wrong, Rhino, no strangers to the region, actually. I believe they have been around. I at least recognize the name, frankly. So an org versus org matchup, it sadly doesn't happen that often, especially this early in the bracket. And doesn't that just uplift you?
It certainly does. It certainly does. And I've actually looked on Strive Esports socials. I don't see any announcement of the team, so this is a silent pickup that maybe they were going to announce for Swiss tomorrow. And they have got to Swiss tomorrow, of course, with the victory earlier today, and they have also got there without losing a game so far. We of course hope that changes in the game coming up in just a moment. But I mean, you have got some huge names on that Strive Esports roster. I've already talked about Willow and Eagle, but you can't dispute Halu as well for what he's done in RLCS 2025 as well. So I'm excited to see this, because this is going to be the first major challenge that Rounds have to face in this open, and to see how they deal with it is going to be telling us a lot about where this team is going to end up.
Simply, this feels like a main event matchup. This feels like this could be a GSL performance here between these two teams. But of course, with you conceding your points when you make such a large roster change outside of the transfer market period, which technically is what happened here, that's what really screws up your seeding. That's what makes matchups like this possible. But it's going to be a great one for the neutral, certainly. And the one that does get that leg up over the other will have a 10,000 rung ladder heading into that Swiss stage, because you brought down another team. So they are going to have to face another top team in the Swiss stage, and someone's going to come home crying that did not expect to by the end of that first round, especially with how the BU system works. You're going to have the higher seeded teams from below play the higher seeded team from the highers.
Yes.
So that's going to be unfortunate. But ladies and gentlemen, the wait is finally over. The matchup for Pride for Swiss seeding as well ignites. It's the reunion matchup. 5 out of 6. Renshiro, though, the one man alone, gets us started off the backboard, slams down, and Eagle will clear this one out.
Gotta give him honorary reunion status for this game specifically. Good save that by Onizuma. Now pushed over to the right-hand side by Marzi, looking to cause some problems against Eagle. Halu will collect. Eagle will take it around one, but cleared away by Onizuma. Renshiro's gone forwards, looking for the finish. Top right corner, no. Over the bar. 30 seconds gone. It has been rounds on top so far.
Eagle knocks this ball out on Onizuma. Doesn't let him have any plans of advancing. The demo comes through as well for the final man, so it's going to be 2 men bunched up in that corner. Now turn 3. That's an unfortunate respawn for Strive Esports. We've done well to re-coordinate that. Whiff from Onizuma will give them time as well. Everyone's regrouped. It's a stable upcoming matchup, and the beat of the game has been found. That beat of a rather high BPM.
You have to imagine there's going to be not many teams in RLCS this season with a higher chemistry, with better communication than Strive Esports. Good bump on the backlines, but no follow through, and now cleared away by Onizuma. Can't get around the second player though. That waterfall is going to be dangerous here for rounds. Drop down, top left corner, hits the bar. And the first shot across the bows of the Finnish org from Strive Esports. It's a back and forth game so far. Opportunity knocks for Marzi as Eagle deals with it off the backboard. Good interception by Onizuma. Now looking for the pass. Going to go all the way back to his countryman, but that might be a mistake. Picked up by Halu. Goes low. Double commit from rounds. It's enough to keep the ball out of the net.
And you are curious as well about the communications of a side of Strive Esports or reunion players. So perhaps coming in French, that could be a bit of a step-up potential there for Willow if it is his preferred language. But that's just speculation on my end. So far, what we're seeing on the pitch is a rather 50-50 affair. Of course, rounds for a majority, taking that outside space. But it's those counter-attacks that can be so dangerous against them, so you can never count anyone out.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be a dangerous one that goes backwards. Hit by Marzi, not collected well by Halu, so Renshiro will work with Marzi. Don't know whether it was working with or just sending the ball long. Renshiro collects once again. Going to drop down, calling for aid. Sent the ball across to the left-hand side. That's a difficult 50 for Marzi to win, and he still is able to do it. Onizuma tries to go low, can't do so. Marzi might collect the ball here. No, decides to back away. Whether called away or not, I think it's the right move as Renshiro comes through on that right side. Halu into the corner. Chance for Onizuma. Pitch to the back post. Who's there? Willu to be a stake in the side of his old team.
Oh, that's a double commit though. Onizuma has to bail away to that back post. Renshiro though will be available to buy him some time. A moment of calm. Onizuma ignites as soon as the opportunity calls. An unbelievable snipe from the halfway line. Well, he makes that look so easy.
May your apology be as loud as your disrespect. As Onizuma finds the opener against Strive Esports from the right wall. Lovely positioning on the finish. And Marzi now trying to make it the double. Cleared away by Eagle for the moment. And he does have enough boost to follow that through. Does get beaten though in the air. Down that right-hand side from Willu. No boost to work with. So relatively easy pickup from Marzi until takes a shot. Who's back? Mr. Reliable. Renshiro makes the save, and that's a lovely put. It's going to be saved, but Onizuma for his second of the game. Strive Esports struggling to rotate on defense.
Doesn't bang it forward, Marzi. Keeps it tight. Feigns that first man in for that second touch. And that's what allows the follow-up. He didn't need to go for the targets. He just had to get the defenders out of the game. And with 70 seconds remaining and how close of an affair this has been so far, this feels like a death certificate signed out of game one. Marzi will look to keep it going. Hello. Bump up high. Renshiro's going to leave this one for Onizuma. He was the one to get this play started. He lit the fuse and it's been fireworks ever since. Here he is in the corner yet again. Mind game comes through. Sees his teammate. It's Marzi. The two linked up Reunion players. Proving why your eyes should not divert away.
They'd better help they sell hot dogs in Reunion, because if not, he's got to go into mainland Africa to find that, because he was absolutely sent on that corner. Eagle comes forwards. Not going to really happen for him. There's a chance for a goal back, and it's missed on the post. Strive Esports surely score from this. How on earth have they not put that ball in the back of the net? This is absolutely ridiculous. Eagle dropping down, sent away. And now Willu out of the left side. My goodness gracious me. Rounds are going to be, well, they're going to be wondering how Strive haven't scored. And I think Strive are going to be wondering that as well.
5 seconds remaining. Eagle takes this one high, looking for a moment of consolation, but the sheets remain clean. The rounds have been loaded in that first game and fired in rapid succession. Let's hope they have a few magazines spare, because in this second game they're going to have to keep up the pace. Strive Esports have gotten a taste of what rounds are capable of. And we know that there is ever more to show, but Onizuma, this was the shot to get it started. Catches Halu off guard at that front post. And you feel like shots like that, Rhino, require a lot of experience to be able to recognize and then pull off. This is not a player with that much experience.
No,
that's what you'd call an old head on young shoulders.
I mean, I could watch that third goal back over and over again. Just the way that he breaks the axles of the defense at every given moment is beautiful to watch. Looks like he's going to take that first touch out of the corner, try and pinch it away. No, slows himself down, allows the ball to just fade back down, gets that pass middle, measures the pass beautifully as well, by the way. This is a player to watch. Onizuma, I apologize that I hadn't heard of you before this RLCS 2026. I will start the apologies first, because goodness gracious me, has this kid got some Rocket League ability in his locker. And Reunion, well, they might be entering the next World Cup, to be honest, with this quality. What is that?
Still flexing their muscles. The double demo is well does land. Onizuma won't land past sidewall.
Oh my
Almost
goodness.
in though, and Shiro just under a third of a car length away, essentially, from getting that shot off. That would have been 1-0 rounds instead, having to build up from the back. But this is a deceptive 2v1. Halu actually equaling up the scores with great pace to recover himself behind. Shot on Renshiro!
Absolute dart from the corner. Look at the pace on this one. Bang! Down into the ground. Eagle couldn't do anything but put it into his own net. Rounds starts game number 2 as they mean to go on. 1-0.
All back out. Halu looking for that quick recovery strike. Well, Willow can't find the angle. Marcy takes that off the sidewall. Onizuma's got little left in the tank. Still remains available. Dives back quick. Marcy's just got to buy some time. Looked like he had let that one slip. Instead, did well for those secondary touches. Renshiro has space on the sidewall. Marzi's already made the run. That is ingenious to take it off the back wall. Doesn't force out the strike. That's all for Onizuma. The save has been forced out. The boa constrictor squeezes once more, and it's suffocation. Onizuma to make it 2 for rounds again.
Oh, I'm enjoying this a lot, Pegasus. I'm having a great day, as it turns out. 2-0 rounds, 3 minutes 45 still to go. Time, obviously, for Strive to get back into this. If they do start to step up. But I think it's important to note that it would require a step up because as it stands, oh, that's so smart again from Renshiro. Cuts inside, trying to take out everybody in Strive. Opportunity knocking on the door. What a save that is from Willu. But the danger not gone. Halu sends it away. Rounds are just battering down the door that Strive have built.
Haluvo wants to try and open up. These gates have been closed by quite some time. They've started to rust. Not a single goal against Rounds in this series so far. One that we could have potentially reached a halfway point of if that sweep is able to be pulled off. But Strive look to cause some complications in that plan. It doesn't happen. Onizuma wants the pre-flip reset. Doesn't happen. Instead, it's going to be Eagle off that back wall. And that is another tool from the box shown there from Onizuma. That's potential for later. You said if you wanted to see one of these flip reset double taps come off, that would have been one of a greater magnitude than even you could have imagined.
Absolutely. But I wouldn't have put it past him. Onizuma has shown time and time again that he has the ability to hit those kinds of plays. Chance here for Halu at the back post. Will it be turned home? No, miscommunication from Strive. You'd expect the call-off to come through. And maybe it wasn't heard. Maybe it wasn't respected. But either way, Strive really should be back level. Well, not level. They should be one goal closer to being level, that's for sure. But I said earlier they would have one of the most amount of chemistry that we would see in this competition. Well, they might have proved right there. And it might not be as clear as we expect.
Just leave this one away for Halu. Well played. Eagle doesn't find a teammate in that occasion. That one just had to be better communicated. It was a nice drop down pass. No one though really wanted to make that difference. Want to step forward with that bit of bravery. This is brave from Halu, however. Doesn't quite make its way through. That was their most promising opportunity so far in this game. Bar the net miss earlier from Eagle when Shiro clears to the corner. And continuing to work this ball inside, only leaves a Rounds player available to knock forward. Onizuma gets it for free off that back wall, just bells away. Knows he's got nothing to create any power, and Shiro definitely has a little bit more heat behind his attack. Still not enough though to break away. But those seconds do certainly diminish. And everyone that goes by increases that opportunity for Rounds to take this one home.
Yeah, the clock almost becoming the fourth man for Rounds right now. Onizuma can't get past Willu. Ball off the backboard, cleared away by Renshiro. Willu goes by, but I think that one was the right thing to do. Called off by Halu. Waterfall, awkward now. Rising highest are Rounds. And Onizuma, early challenge, almost a pre-jump on that one. Making sure to get some distance. The distance is closed again. Renshiro smartly putting it middle, and Onizuma was ready to clear the ball away. It has been an onslaught really since the second goal of Strive Esports on Rounds' net. This is an opportunity. Goes by. Another one goes wide. Another one will go home finally. But Strive Esports just showing that they don't have the level of clinicality that Rounds do. They had possession of that ball so much around the Rounds net. With 4 seconds to go, they finally find something on the board.
And if there was going to be a play to do it, it had to be Willu for Strive. This has to be the play to turn them around, but hold on, not over yet. That's an available backboard, and there are players at that near post. This one flies high. Willu keeps it in that danger area. Onizuma looks to escape with the victory. That's intelligent from Marzi. Slam it on the ground. Take your second game and set up a potential sweep. Not perfect though, Rhino. You did concede in that last.
Yeah, but who cares? A game win's a game win. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the game. And Rounds had a lot of opportunity there to really show off what they can do on defense rather than offense, which we've not seen a lot today. But when they are kind of turtled in their own net, okay, yes, there are a couple of double commits. There are a couple of moments where you would like things to be a little bit tighter. But there are also moments of play during what we saw where I was really impressed by the way that Rounds dealt with it. I was really happy with the communication that I was seeing and the way that they were taking it in turns to try and clear the ball and put it into the corner and work their way out of a difficult situation. I thought there were glimpses there of a team that can really turn defense into offense in the blink of an eye, and some of those go-ahead opportunities as well, where Onizuma might miss the initial challenge up close and then drive forwards down the field, trust in his teammates to get the ball back and send that pass down the wing. I'm really, really happy on balance of play with how Rounds dealt with that.
But now this is going to be a series that's going to get harder before it gets easier in this third game. Sure. It's always the hardest one to take home, and you did see a little bit of momentum picked up by Strive Esports in that last game. Of course, they had all that possession in the offensive third and might not have quite had that consistency, that prolific nature to put the ball in the back of the net. You even saw some mechanics being shown off at certain points by Eagle, which are certainly going to be plays we're going to have to look out for. Those demos as well already immediately planting a goal for the favour of Strive. That first 30 seconds, I believe, proved every single point I said.
The ego on this Onizuma kid. we got to talk about it a little bit. He saw the play developing a long time ago and just pre-jumped it. Was just like, you know what? I'm going to go up to challenge this. I've got 100 boost. I'm going to take the advantage that you give me, and that's exactly what he does there. Plays it off the back and almost gets a goal for it. So, wonderful work early from young Reunion player. And Shiro flicks it, looking for the backboard, finds the backboard too. Onizuma backboard. Marzi, where are you? Looking for the shot, just a little bit slow off the mark. Renshiro, that's on target, needs to be dealt with, does get sent into the corner, double commit from Rounds, gonna cause a problem on the counter. Marzi has to get in front of his player, stall the attack, does enough, and Marzi plays it over to that right-hand side, looking to get there first again, finds a pass out to the left side, but no one is there to recover, and Renshiro deals with the put high from Strive.
Oh,
Onizuma, is that just
from
him?
Onizuma.
Wow.
Why? Just why did he have this much confidence? Speed flip when that's dropping down for Strive. All he had to do was jump. And Onizuma would have sent himself in the net and left his team in a 2v3. But he had a feeling. He's got a read of the game. He knows what the stakes are for Strive. They're panicked. They're going to take that time because no sane individual goes for that 50. I love it. And he jumped early for that one. Why?
Yeah.
Just why?
And this is what I'm saying. The confidence. Dare I say the ego on Onizuma right now. He believes that he's the best player in this lobby. And at the moment, it's difficult to disagree with him. Halu sends it long. Marzi looking to put it up to a teammate. Onizuma does get first contact, but it's not really enough. Renshiro left in an awkward spot. That's a nice pass middle. And Halu will finish the job. It's all off that pass out of the corner, though. And Renshiro played it to where he thought was relatively safe. In the end, Strive answer back 1-1.
It's a gorgeous pre-flip there from Halu. Gets that bit of pace behind it. Still finds the bottom corner, however, just out of the reach of the two defenders of Rounds. Like I said, this is going to be a game you expect to get harder. Players have to step up, and Azuma certainly so far has. That confidence won't pay dividends in this occasion. Instead, Eagle lays it off to Halu, not on target, goes to safe corners, only as safe as you make them, and I was worried by that first touch inside, but it was all pre-planned. Renshiro was already available, and now the second and the third are going to be called upon. The third, Onizuma, now turn first, challenges early. Renshiro does well to cut rotation, but demos do land and slow down the play. But Onizuma's never a player you want to leave remaining on the pitch, because he's a player that feels like two when you're against him.
Just challenging everything. Just pushing the ball at every given moment, giving Strive Esports no time to relax. He does get demoed there, which is unsurprising. Renshiro gets the return kill, if you like. That's an opportunity off the crossbar from Willu. And that really could be 2-1 in favor of Strive. It doesn't go that way. Browns just need to tighten up a little bit on that defense, because their aggression is fantastic and it's giving them opportunities, but it is costing them in the back lines. And there's should be the second goal. Lovely redirect from Halu. And you said it was going to get harder. It did just.
This is a lovely redirect, like you said. It's about how it just loops its way over. If it was a bit more direct, Renshiro does get a heavier touch in that one. It's tipped to the corner, and who knows what's next. For now, it's 90 seconds to try and claw this one back if you want this to be a swept result. And you can tell in the way that rounds have been playing, that is certainly the case. There is a tenacious aspect of their gameplay, but in defense, it has led to some unfavorable positions right now. Despite possession, still that favor falls against him. It's that boosted advantage, the off-the-ball control Strive Esports can have at this halfway line that just gatekeeps any opportunities their way. They know they don't have to overcommit. And whilst the whole team was sitting back, Willu made light work of that shot.
Onizuma humbled just a little bit. Just enough to maybe get him to switch back on, because the way that he took that ball off his own backboard showed too much of it to Strive Esports, and that is something you absolutely cannot do. There is quality on that side of the field, and proving it time and time again. Ball into the middle. No, not going to happen. Renshiro going around the houses, getting a boost steal, which could make it difficult for Strive to get out of their half. Eagle does pick up the 100. Pinch middle. Renshiro turns on the ball, pops it high. Can't get beyond Halu, though. Has enough boost to challenge the Finn. And now it's Marzi off the ceiling. Can he keep possession? Not very well. Onizuma goes by as well, and that's one of those opportunities where the Reunion players on rounds just get their wires crossed a little bit, and that will happen. But it needs to happen less often than not.
They're starting to understand Onizuma's game. It's been basically a double block whenever he has got up for something. Someone covering high, someone covering low. They know that you are playing a little bit of a game of rock, paper, scissors against him. You got to cheat a little. And this is what I was talking about earlier with these kinds of players, and about Rocket League just in general. Sure, you can have that flash. Hold on. Oh, that would have been a really nice closing goal there by Strive if they pulled that one off. You can play with that pace of play. You can play patient, but the best players in the world, and the ones that end up being the greatest in any sport they play in, know when to switch it up. They know when to be efficient. So they know when to just go for the simple one, and when they need to throw in a little bit of magic. A balance that certainly will be found in what we hope to be a longer standing project for an SSA rounds roster. And this is going to be their first big test. Still though, match points, 2 chances. But I don't want to say that that coveted result is going to fall against rounds again.
You would struggle to believe that, wouldn't you, at this moment? Rounds still playing with the confidence and the drive that we've seen from them before. They just need to adapt to the way that Strive have adapted to them. It's all a give and take at this point in Rocket League, and they've got a couple of games to figure that out. And you get the feeling that Renshiro is going to be having that discussion with his teammates right now, where he's got the answer. He just needs the other players on his team to understand as well. And so Renshiro, I have full faith, will be having that discussion in the VC as it stands. And Onizuma and Marzi, as long as they become sponges and take in everything that their captain is telling them, I see no reason why this game won't be finished in 4.
But there's been a little bit of a switch around in the coaching spot as well, which we haven't put a mention in here. Leoxy no longer the coach of Browns, a primary coach, I should say. We've still got Spooky as an assistant. Grossloop has taken that role as the primary here, and I'm sure he'll be having those conversations as well with the players. So plenty of leaders to go around, but now that leadership has to lead to those palpable results. And Strive Esports, they've grabbed their first one of the series. Rounds got to get that job done. So close from Onizuma.
And not far away. That's a great catch by Eagle. Gets around 1, but Onizuma ready for it. A little bit awkward now. Gets the reset. Turns towards goal. Sees the defender, and Harley will be able to make the save. Good catch from Renshiro in the midfield, but now he's left Onizuma back pretty much on his ones. Renshiro does get back in time, but Onizuma doesn't need him. Gets across the goal line, makes a big save. Pass middle, looking for the Finn. He drives forwards, but just loses possession. Halu sends it into the corner, which again should be safe. Isn't when Onizuma's on the field, though. Shot from Marzi! And that is Rounds taking the lead in Game 4.
This was not a play I was expecting a goal out of. It's Renshiro with that perfect 50. And even this strike that Marzi was going to find himself off the back on. I saw 2 defenders and I said, sure, this is going to clear out. Onizuma has got some clean-up crew to do. But great power straight down the centre, as far away from both players as possible. That was so well tucked away from Marzi, who has been going a little bit under the radar due to how much his nationman has been stepping up. But all day he has had that level of consistency in the final third.
Yeah, he has. And that's something that I've been seriously impressed with from Marzi. Able to make that play, and Renshiro just going to try and bully his way through Strive Esports and doing a good job of it. But this is a little bit of a change in strategy from Renshiro, I think. Normally I would see him maintain possession of that ball down the left wing, not push it forwards when he sees 3 Strive players down the line who are easily going to be able to collect. I just think maybe he needs to take a little bit more time on the ball, a little bit more possession-based. Make Strive Esports concerned and think about where he's going to go with the ball at any given time, rather than play that, I don't want to call it a boom ball style because he doesn't do it every time, but in that moment, you just feel like he could have got more done by keeping hold of the ball and being able to bring it through down that left wing. And we have seen him do that as well.
It's just such a different dynamic of roster as well. More times than we saw. Certainly in the last splits, we've seen a lot of these high offloaded passes required out of Renshiro because players like Onizuma just stay so high up the pitch when the opportunity beckons for it in a way that Willow and Cam actually, just were not doing in the last Open, which is, we're not doing in the last Open, which was unexpected out of those 2 players who typically do in that fashion. Instead, it was about those inside passes. Now it's a lot longer stringed play. The players are a lot wider against each other, and that can make you do it a lot more often than you should. Onizuma somehow has a setup here. Got the flip reset off that back wall. It wasn't actually required. Willow didn't get the finest of touches either. Ends up being, I guess, a perfect 50-50.
Yeah, when you boil it down, sure, we can call it that. But yeah, look, Renshiro again with the intelligence, just waiting for that play to develop. Not banking on the fact that Strive were going to miss it, but ready if they did. And that's exactly what happened there. Marzi with a ground pinch, going to be saved away by Strive, and now this is a dangerous opportunity for the Reunion boys. Willu goes by. He will say he just left it for a teammate, but Marzi now taking it down the right-hand side, gets it in the way of one, and Renshiro, huge 50s, and gets the 100 boost as well. Won't really matter too much as Halu comes away with it past middle, and Strive are back in it.
Yes, they are. This is a scary opportunity to see because you know that Strive Esports can just ramp up that pressure. We have on many occasions delayed that first goal for them, so there's just simply not enough time left on the clock for them to get themselves back into it. So I do want to see a third goal here from Rounds. I feel like an addition to the score sheet right now is essentially guaranteed, and we've got to make sure that that's on this green side.
Yeah, and to be fair, that is the way in most SSA games, is you can pretty much guarantee there will be another goal, whether it's 4 minutes 50 still in the game or whether there's 2 seconds left. This region is known for its... Yeah, let's go with attacking prowess and
I'd agree.
Move on as Halu off that right-hand side, just waiting to see if someone tried to go for it. No one did. It's a mess on the goal line, but it's enough of a mess to clear the ball away, and Rounds camping in their own half now. Strive struggling to break down the back line with 35 seconds left to go. The game ends now. Rounds will go through to Swiss with that higher seed, but it won't. Backboard opportunity cleared away by Onizuma. Not far enough. Great save by Renshiro. Still opportunities. 20 seconds to go.
Low boost though from those front 2 men. Onizuma, the only one with anything in the tank, and he will commit early. That
Go
looks
home,
open. He'll go all the way. 2 goal difference. Rounds stand strong. Surely this is the dagger.
Surely you would think so. 11 seconds to go. Strive Esports putting all their eggs in the offensive basket as they should have done. facing match point. There is a chance here. But it doesn't go as Renshiro marshals it well. And now that clearance away confirms that Rounds are the team to take the highest seed out of this bracket. And they do so in very professional fashion. 2 games dropped today against 2, it's fair to say, very solid sides. And we will see Rounds tomorrow as they go in with a little bit of berth and a higher seed, which should mean an easier game number 1 of the day.
Absolutely, but of course still could be someone pretty high seeded if it's in that 9 to 12 kind of range. If we are fortunate enough to get something a little bit like that. This 50 by Onizuma. One of the most unusual plays of the day, but strangely effective. Strive really had no options there, especially with Willy already on that backboard. You want him to get a cleaner touch, but who expects something like that to land so disfavorably against you? You think they're just going to slam down. You think it'll tip its way out. It does not. And I know it's almost like these analysts that are on the Rounds broadcast know what they're talking about, because this was my exact prediction. 3-1 rounds and a home run all the way to the upper stage of the Swiss.
Yep, certainly is. And hey, also there are some other analysts that we might need to call out, Pegasus as well, who might need to write a formal apology to a couple of different individual players. Now we're not gonna call for that just yet, because we're sensible. All right, we've not even had Swiss, we've not even had GSL yet. There's a lot of time left in the Open. However, based on the performances today, I think there might be something in order as we take a look at how Rounds were able to get through into Swiss tomorrow. A DQ win to kick things off, and then 2 3-1s are through into Swiss.
I would have loved them to actually have that first game. I feel like some of those ones would have been rubbed off if they were able to earn themselves a little bit of a warm-up there, but No Name Team ended up being those perfect opponents. They certainly kicked Rounds into gear. If they had slowed down or whatsoever, that would have seen us in the lower bracket. Instead, going that full distance, keeping those heads held high, and my MVP of the day, it has to be said, it's Onizuma. It's the easy pick. I think it's the coward's pick up here, because it definitely could go to anyone on this roster. Renshiro, just for his overall consistency, defense and offense, and as well, we had that consistency up front from Willens as well, from Marzi a little bit later in the day. He was getting those strikes across. He was the perfect partnership for Onizuma. But my goodness, those mechanics, that speed, that bravery, that ego, whatever you want to call it, I loved it. Pure hearts. We used to have 9 open seasons. We don't anymore. So every single one has to count. And he makes sure that's the case.
Yeah, he absolutely does. And I think as 2 people who hadn't really seen Onizuma play until this Open, it was a little bit of, what have you got for us? How can you introduce yourself to the Rounds fan base? And I think he's made himself a fast favorite among the Rounds faithful, as arguably the number 1 man, the man we look to get those goals, to make sure that Rounds are picking up wins here and there and keeping the scoreline ticking over. So really happy to see Onizuma play. And I do have to also say, you mentioned it there, Marzi, very solid. A couple maybe of missed opportunities here and there, but I didn't see anything absolutely egregious from him. It's maybe just more of a communication thing for Marzi at this point, where he needs to be a little bit more aware of his teammates and where they are on the field and get a little bit more of an idea of that. But as a young player, these are the kind of things that you will pick up and you will learn by playing with players like Renshiro. So there is stuff to work on, of course. There will never not be. But as far as a day 1 goes, I don't think we could have asked much more.
Absolutely not. For long-term projects, short-term starts off with flying colours out of the first day of SSA, of course led by the one Finnish man himself, Renshiro. The rounds have been loaded. They've been emptied for this first day. It will take some time to reload. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to say we will be returning tomorrow through the Swiss. Higher seeds, higher octane action. We'll be back. See you then.
What if I told you from now on, the only thing you need for gaming is this desk? Uneven Base is a complete esports setup. It includes a powerful computer, keyboard, mouse, and monitor. All in one, lightweight build. Uneven Base is foldable, portable, and easy to set up. Perfect gaming experience wherever you want. And of course, yeah, there's RGB. Uneven Base. Now it's about you.
Pidä taloutesi hallinnassa pelin sisällä ja sen ulkopuolella.
Siis mikä voi olla niin tärkeää, että äijä ei näy 2 viikkoon? Äijä on tullut takaisin. No niin, let's go. Pitkästä aikaa pelikentällä.
Tervetuloa Pro Zoneen.
Tervetuloa Pro Zoneen.
Tervetuloa Pro Zoneen.